Welcome, everyone, to LuchaWorld Podcast episode number 82. I'm your host, Fredo Esparza, and this week, Kurt is on vacation, still on vacation, continuing his summer-long trip across California. We have two guests this week. Returning for the second time this year, actually, is the Cubs fan. Now, before I get to ask you how you're doing, Cubs, I need to ask you your thoughts on the White Sox-Cubs trade from earlier today. And do you think they gave up too much for Jose Quintana?
It's very sad because last year, or maybe the year before, I went to South Bend, Indiana, where Eloy and Gleyber Torres were both playing the outfield as these future prospects who were going to come up and be really good for the Cubs in 3 years. And now both of them are playing for AL teams because they got traded away. So it kind of sucks that way, but finding good, cheap, young pitching is hard to do. So it'll probably work out okay, but it just it's a hard blow to take when you've been reading the hype about the guy for so long for him never actually play for your team.
Do you think they gave up too much for him? Because I know they gave up a couple of prospects, not just one. It was like 3 or 4, right?
Yeah, but I think that's kind of, considering how valuable Quintana is, that's probably the right price for him. The other big one was the Dylan Cease, who can throw the ball very, very fast, but there's a lot of guys who can throw the ball very fast and have trouble translating it to strikes in the major leagues. So I wasn't as sold on him as other people. And the other two guys were just two guys. So I think it was a lot, but I think it's probably a fair deal for what they what they're getting back.
You know, one of these days we're gonna have to do a baseball podcast because between yourself, Dr. Lucha Steve Sims, Dylan, I don't think Rob is into baseball that much. Baseball, we're gonna have to do a podcast one of these days on baseball.
See, I assumed this was a Lucha Classica episode talking about women's wrestling because the other person on the line.
Yes, I was gonna trick our next guest, making his LuchaWorld Podcast debut, and we actually have to do this a little differently because Rob is actually long distance. He's in Canada. Rob Bihari, first time ever. How you doing, Rob?
I'm doing good. I joined the baseball podcast out of nowhere, and I'm not exactly a baseball expert. I get all my baseball info from my friend O'Connor, but I can actually contribute to this because apparently a former Blue Jay today announced that he's just quitting baseball or something. What happened with Colby?
He's taking time away from baseball for personal issues, but no one knows what those issues are yet.
Who is it? Colby Rasmus or?
Yeah, Colby Rasmus. Yeah.
Oh, really? Wow, I didn't hear about that. This is breaking news for me, man. Rob, before we get to the wrestling, I need to ask you. This is going to be the beginning of our adventure, our first game. This is a game show. You need to tell me I'm going to give you a name, and you have to tell me if this guy was or wasn't a Toronto Raptor.
Ooh, I like this.
And the first, I'm going to make it easy for you, is Jorge Gonzalez.
No, because that's Giant Gonzalez's real name, right?
Yes, you got that right.
There you go. But he was a basketball player.
Yes, he was a basketball player, was drafted by the Atlanta Hawks. Jorge Gonzalez became a superstar when he went to WWS. Gonzalez right there, because I know in WCW there's Gigante. He passed away in 2010, but yeah, he was a basketball player, and he was never a Raptor. So Rob gets a point this week. So, I mean, I know we talked about this on Twitter about you doing this, and we're going to continue doing this whenever you're on the show. We might have to do this for Cubs as well, because I know he's probably gonna be feeling left out of the getting to know the Raptors game show.
Well, you picked one of my favorite wrestlers ever. Like, people don't know that, but I loved El Gigante.
Yeah, did you follow him when he was in WCW?
We didn't get WCW here, but I followed him through. I think I got an action figure of him, and I didn't know who it was, and then I eventually found out about him in the magazines, PWI.
Oh, cool. Well, we should start talking about Lucha, because this is, of course, a Lucha Libre podcast. And, what better way to start the show than talk about what's going on with Alberto El Patron, because every single time, I think this past week I've already done a podcast for MLW Lucha Talk, and we already had some news at that point. And now we have more news on Alberto. I think he already made even did an announcement right after I updated I did the last Lucha report. I know Cubs fan did a post earlier as well. And Cubs, what's the latest on Alberto El Patron that you've heard, at least from as far as the story is going right now?
I don't think there's anything that's changed as much in the last day or so. Is that he's just suspended from GFW, but it's unclear what that means since they're not running shows for weeks, and that GFW is doing an investigation. Though I'm not really. I mean, they are a minor league wrestling company, so I'm not really. I wouldn't expect them to be able to do big investigations about domestic abuse at an airport, but they're looking into it, and we and Alberto and Paige have their stories, and other people have different stories, and it would be he said if Paige and Alberto didn't have 500 stories in the last couple of years. So we know there's something happened. We don't know exactly what happened.
Yeah, and you know the weird thing about this story was that interview with Sports Illustrated on this past Thursday, but I don't think anybody really noticed it. I'm guessing everybody was busy, not really concerned about Impact information at that time. But you posted the link to the story where he mentioned he was AAA to return for Triplemania. Has there been any update on that as far as whether or not he's going to be in Triplemania, or is that still something that he's still more or less?
Leo Riano in his record column mentioned the same thing, but it seemed like he was just getting it from the Sports Illustrated column and he didn't know anything specifically on his own. So I don't know if there's going to be. So AAA hasn't said anything. They haven't acknowledged that they even contacted Alberto about working for them. So at this point, there just hasn't gone anywhere. It wouldn't be surprised if it went just quietly away. If AAA is selling as many tickets as they claim they are for Triplemania, it's really hard to see why they would need them in the first place. So,
well, we know they're going to get somebody from Impact for that show for sure. I mean, I don't think they really need, like you were saying, I don't think they really need Alberto. Rob, what do you think about this whole story? Do you really think he's going to end up in Triplemania, or do they just end up going with the random Impact guys like Bobby Lashley or some of these other guys, just to fill out the foreign wrestler role for their show?
I like this. I like the format here. We get the facts from Cubs, and then we come to Rob for the hot takes. Because I actually I have an interesting thing, because I was thinking about this earlier. First of all, I'm sure they'll get a couple of TNA guys. I'm sure it won't be just one. But here's the thing with Alberto. Okay, so let's say you bring in Alberto for Triplemania. That's all well and good. Something here doesn't add up, because AAA has been bragging. I'm going to use the word bragging because I think they have been bragging about how 70% of the tickets are sold already for Triplemania. I don't believe that story. Other people believe that story. Cool. That's fine. If you've really sold 70% of your tickets, Alberto is not the cheapest guy to use to bring in. Why are you spending money to bring in Alberto if all these tickets are already sold? Like, you're just cutting into your own profits right now by bringing in a guy who's as expensive as him. So what is the purpose of bringing Alberto here? You've already got all the attention on the show. Apparently you got tickets sold. Nobody was expecting him to be on the show. You've got your top match booked. He's not going to be in it. This doesn't make sense from any perspective at all to have Alberto on the show. Am I missing something here? Like, why are we bringing in Alberto? Who is he facing? What is his story? Doesn't make sense, does it?
And the weird thing with that is that we've already seen how Alberto isn't very fond of not working the main event on a show. So he complained about it when he was in Lucha Underground. He's obviously still complained about other stuff, but it's like it doesn't really it doesn't add up, like you were saying. I mean, why waste more money on him and then also the problems that are coming up, all these stories about him, like the domestic abuse and with Paige, and the grandstand with Triple H that he also was revealed. I don't even think it was revealed. He actually posted it on Twitter, right?
Yeah, he sent out some message threatening people.
It kind of. I mean, you just have to be on Twitter to more or less, or on Instagram to more. He's not all that. There's something really wrong with him at this moment. So it doesn't seem like it's the ideal time to have him be on your show. Earlier today, I guess I know we were mentioning that they had mentioned, I think like last week, that the NDA promotion out of Monterey was trying to book him for their show, for one of their upcoming shows. They actually had Alberto. Alberto posted a video or something, I guess, announcing it. Is he officially going to be on their next show on CubsFan?
I don't think they haven't said anything more about that show. I don't think, or I haven't seen anything more about that show, so I'm not sure.
It's booked.
Is it?
Yeah, I was talking to well, I guess I can use his name. Nobody doesn't mind, but well, let's just say the guy who runs LuchaMania MTY, who posts all the news about the Monterey info, everything going on down there, and they cover the scene, and it's booked for July 23rd. And the funny part that nobody seems to have picked up on yet is, in addition to Alberto being booked, apparently Paige's brothers are booked for that show.
Paige's brothers are booked on this after what they said about Alberto and all this stuff. I mean, that's a little bit.
I mean, I don't know if they're booked anymore, but originally that was the plan. They were going to bring, just like they came in for the tour that bombed with Alberto back at the end of May.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. So that's a little, I don't know. It just seems a little strange that all that stuff. I mean, first of all, everything that's going on with him, I would probably just steer clear from for a bit, but especially now that GFW announced that they had suspended him or whatever they decided to do with him, it seems like this would be the time to not really be announcing that you're booking Alberto. Although, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like thinking about how serious this is, but Mexican fans Lucha fans are very weird when it comes to how they view the talent, wrestlers themselves, because there's a weird group of fans who they still idolize, Chris Benoit and guys like that. So there is a fan base that really can, what they're like or anything. I know, Rob, you've seen a lot of these fans went online, and I'm sure Cubs has seen that also. But it's like, it just seems really weird that they're able to separate that stuff and still think that these guys are perfectly okay to work these shows. I would steer clear from them for right now, at least.
I would too. I hate running into fans like that who talk about, on the anniversary of Chris Benoit, they post all his great matches, and I'm like, I respond with a picture. Sometimes I troll and post a picture of Daniel Benoit, and I'm like, what about this kid?
Yeah,
they don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, and that's what I kind of view when I see people they'll tweet about, oh, Alberto's going to be on the show. It's like, man, these guys just aren't. They're just not in. They're in that bubble where they don't understand that there's more to life than, oh, he's a wrestler, he could get away with this stuff. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like a bad idea right now. Speaking of Triplemania 25 coming up, Cibernetico has no interest in this Triplemania 25. So I guess I should ask you guys, since Mas Lucha always asks every ex-AAA guy if they would like to take part in the festivities. Do you guys have any plans on going to Triplemania this year, or would you guys rather just not have anything to do with Triplemania this year?
I am not going back to. I've been to one Triplemania, so I'm not looking to go back to another one after that experience. But on the other hand, if I just stay home and watch Triplemania, I'll have to listen to whatever English announcer calls the show. So it's trouble either way.
So you're basically like Cibernetico. You don't want to be part of this.
No. Yeah, one of the many ways means Cibernetico are alike.
Rob, how do you feel about those?
I mean, I'm just intrigued to see what the card's going to look like, because I can't even begin to guess what they're going to do for anything but two matches.
Yeah, and they basically that's all they've built up, right? The two matches. Dr. Wagner. Well, the one I know for sure built up is Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Psycho Clown in a mask match. What's the other match that's being built up right now?
I think they're doing Macias and Pagano, right?
They haven't said that yet, but they're obviously headed that way. And they have announced the three-way with Mundo, Fantasma, and Tejano for the titles, and that's about it for anything really important.
My prediction is that Angelico is going to end up in there, and it's going to be a four-way.
Oh, wow. So you've already figured out that Vampiro is going to change at least one match that he's booked.
Vampiro's got lots of surprises, according to Twitter today.
Oh, no. I don't know, because he blocked me, so I wouldn't know what surprises he has. They will be total surprises for me, unlike for the rest of everyone else who gets to follow Vampiro.
Sorry, that's another reason you got to get on this WhatsApp gimmick, because every time Vampiro posts something cool on Facebook, Cubs just sends me a screenshot so I can laugh.
You guys have been watching AAA TV. How have they been building up Triplemania 25? Have they done more with TV, or have they done more with the Doc and Psycho Clown planes? That they just finally showed us that, you know, the planes with the likeness of Dr. Wagner and Psycho Clown, them dressed as pilots. Is that basically more of the build-up than anything that they've done on TV?
Yeah, I would say so, because TV has had them teaming and getting along, and then occasionally for 2 minutes they won't get along and they'll have a match. They'll be forgotten next week, and then they'll be back to being friends next week. They really haven't done much with the feud except reminding you that this match is happening. But the stuff they've done with the press, with those interviews, I think has reached people who don't watch a TV show, and the people who don't watch a TV show are more likely to be interested in the match than anyone who's just started watching the TV show, I think.
Rob, what are you more excited about, seeing those planes or the actual match itself?
I'm more excited for the week before, where we see if Wagner will pull a power play and want more money, or want something like, or if Dorian hasn't told the actual loser of the match who's losing yet, if he changes it at the last second, and then we get total chaos.
So you think he hasn't told who's you think there's still some uncertainty as far as who's going to lose the mask match, as far as Dorian telling them?
Well, I think, with most mask matches, usually you know who's losing and they know who's losing, but there's even if it's certain who's losing, the week before, sometimes people either want more money or they panic and they worry about no good without a mask and they get cold feet, But in this case, I think right now, personally, I think Wagner's winning, and I think Psycho Clown is losing his mask. Otherwise, Wagner wouldn't even be in this match right now. And I think that the week before, or 2 weeks before, 3 weeks, whatever it is, I think Psycho might have second thoughts, because I think he needs the mask. I think he can paint his face or whatever, but I think somebody will talk to him in the time leading up to the mask match and be like, eh. And if he goes to the office and asks AAA, and then AAA asks Wagner, what would you consider if we gave you more money losing your mask? Then I think problems will start to come, because even suggesting to Wagner that he loses, I think that'll cause the same problems as the time when he was going to lose his mask with Lannis, or the time he was going to lose his mask to Connect. So anything can happen at that point. That's why I'm excited for the week leading up to the match.
So are you guys worried that if Dr. Wagner Jr. backs out, that the Alvarado family might go and handle justice on their end, as far as are you telling me Dr. Wagner Jr. needs some security around his car leading up to Triplemania?
He doesn't need a fucking car. He has an airplane now.
Are you worried about that airplane now? Because now we're concerned about all the passengers too, because we don't know about these Alvarados nowadays.
I'm not concerned about the airplane. I'm concerned about AAA if that happens, because they've shown so much into this match is definitely going to happen, and we're centering our whole year around it, that if it falls apart, it's going to haunt them for a long time.
Do you think there's a chance, say they can't figure out who's going to drop the mask, that they end up doing some sort of or finish, or something that's going to be a foul to the ref, some sort of where Vampiro has to reverse the decision? Do you think there's a chance there's going to be a screwy finish where nobody drops their mask?
It's AAA, so there's definitely that chance. I think it would I don't think there's a screw job that they could do that would make people extremely upset, 10 times as much as they were about the Voldor Sabra match. So I think they would, but it's AAA, and they may back themselves in the corner, or they may talk themselves into doing something they shouldn't do. So I think that match is going to be really interesting, because we're not going to be clear exactly if they're going to do what they are planning on doing until that match is over.
Yeah. So is this? Have they updated anything as far as them being on television? The show, obviously, the match is going to air on television at some point, but will it air live, pay-per-view? Any discussion on that?
The last we heard was Dorian saying it was going to be on pay-per-view, but this far out, 6 weeks away, they usually don't even know what they're doing at this point. So if we don't hear about something in a month from now, then I'd start to get worried. But I am sure it'll be the same pay-per-view stuff they did last year.
You think Jim Ross is going to be recommended as the announcer for the Triplemania English broadcast?
No, I think we'll get stuck with Matt Striker again, and we'll just be really sad.
Well, I don't know. Jim Ross wasn't very good on the New Japan show, so we're pretty down. Like I'm pretty bummed out on English announcing at this point right now.
Yeah,
a lot of bad announcing. You guys watched the New Japan shows? Did you guys watch both of them?
I did. I could totally see AAA being the one company who would hire a guy to do their ring announcing, who on the New Japan show said, "Well, I can't tell these two guys apart. They both wear masks."
Yeah.
Especially for the main event of Triplemania actually being a mask match,
Yeah.
So yeah, horrible. I only watched the first G1 show. How was everybody was telling me about how was the second show's the CML guys? How was their match in the second show?
I liked the second show better than the first show. I thought that the match was really good. I thought out of everybody, actually, Dragon Lee seemed because Dragon Lee didn't do even 10% of as much as he usually does on that show, so he was really reined in there. But him and Kamaitachi got the biggest pop. Got the biggest pop for chopping each other for like over a minute. They just kept hitting each other.
Yeah, I was when we were talking about. I think the first show. I only talked about the first show, and it's like so disappointing because they put him in an Ingobernables match, so it wasn't going to be anything. These guys weren't going to do anything. They were just going to be a just back and forth brawl, and maybe we got lucky and got a dive. That wasn't very good. I think that first show it really got slightly better when Zack Sabre and Juice Robinson wrestled, but other than that, it wasn't very good.
Why are you watching? You're not a New Japan fan.
Why
are you watching? You're not in New Japan.
I know. Oh, I do like New Japan.
Why did you watch?
I do like New Japan. It's not. I don't like it that much, but I still watch it. It's not up there with Lucha. I pretty much have stuck to just Lucha at this point because everything else is kind of just disappointing me every time I watch. And it's really long. Those WWE shows are so freaking long. It's like I can't watch those. This past week, Ali Park wrestled on an MDA show. Speaking of MDA, he wrestled an MDA show in Monterey and actually announced that was the last show he was going to be a part of. There's been some rumors online that basically a lot of people are thinking he's going to jump to AAA. What do you guys think is next in Ali Park's career? Do you actually think he's going to be there and there's a plan to maybe start an Ali Park versus whoever doesn't drop their mask at Triplemania, or is it just Ali Park being Ali Park and wearing out his welcome with another promoter?
I think it's probably the latter, that LA Park cannot stay in one place too long, and either because he doesn't want to be there or the people who are employing him doesn't want there. I think he is the one option AAA would have if they had to back out of doing Psycho Wagner, where people would be okay if they did Wagner Park. But I just don't see AAA wanting to deal with him after the last few times they've dealt with him.
Rob, what do you think?
I think it's just another case of falling out with the promoter. Because if you remember that show originally, he was supposed to be in the semi-main event. Then he ended up. Then he ended up in the main event. So you can pretty much be sure something happened there. But he left on, from what I heard, he left on good terms. And actually, the big rumor that I'm hearing is not AAA. So clearly, we're reading two different places online. You heard the AAA rumors. I heard the rumor that he's trying to get on those Crash shows that are not the Tijuana ones. He wants to be on the touring Crash shows, which is interesting because when Conan was doing an interview, or he did this in a couple interviews, I think, where he pointed out that everybody's welcome in the Crash locker room except for LA Park. Now, I don't know if he was referring to just those Tijuana shows where Conan's in charge of everything, or if he was referring to all the shows. But it would be interesting if LA Park started to tour with the Crash going all over the place. I mean, LA Park, Pentagon, I think that's a money feud, and LA Park in the ring with Rey would be interesting.
Yeah, I didn't hear. I heard about the AAA rumor on his Facebook page, on LA Park's official Facebook page, where he was bringing up that people. I think somebody asked him if he was going to AAA. He's like, no, those are just rumors. He's like, no one promotion can control me.
That's true.
So I could pretty much be assured that CMLL wasn't an option. I pretty much figured that wasn't an option. Although you never know. You never know with all these promoters and wrestlers and all that.
Hold on one second. What do you think, both of you, whoever wants to go, but like Dr. Luchik, I think on one of the Wrestling Observer Lives, kind of floated the idea that maybe CMLL is trying to appease Rush and just do whatever he wants, and they know that the one match that Rush wants is him and LA Park in Arena Mexico. It doesn't have to be Rush, doesn't have to be mask versus hair. It could be just a match. But you think that at any point they would agree to randomly just say, listen, we'll bring you in for one show. You can fight Rush. You guys can do your stupid match, whatever you want, and just make us a bunch of money and put it on like a major show in September.
I think they're so principled in what they want to present in their product that they would be unwilling to go that far and let LA Park back on there.
I think there's a possibility just because every promoter, and I mean, I don't know. It's just I'm so used to I'm so used to everything being a possibility nowadays that it's like you never say never. So I think if there is that issue with Rush where they want to please him, because it really does look like it's basically become, it's not Rush getting the big matches this year, but it's his father getting the big match. So there's something to it. So maybe like if he wants that match, it might be a possibility. The worst thing is we're probably going to get this like on an Informa, and LA Park will show up, do his shtick, and and like I said, if it's one match, I think it's fine. I think they could deal with him for one match, just make sure not to hand him a mic. But I mean, I don't know if it's. I just find it very difficult to believe that. Like he's so out there as far as being a guy that they can control that. I don't even know like the Crash. I don't even know the Crash could handle him. So
that's the main issue. That's the main issue that it boils down to, because CML business right now is very, very, very tourist centric, and with the tourists come the sponsors, and with sponsors, you have to be very careful, because if sponsors go away, and for some reason the tour bus gets affected, and all your deals that CML is like, me and Cubs were on the bus in Mexico, and they have ads for, like, while you're riding a public bus, they have CML ads. You can see the profiles of the wrestlers and everything. So they're very, they're very ingrained in the culture now. And you can't have a situation where, like, if LA Park offends a sponsor pulls out. And can you imagine what CML crowds would look like if they lost their tourist business?
It'd be horrible right now, especially we already see it with the Tuesday, Sunday shows. Whenever you see the pictures or the video, it's like, nobody's there, and then when it's a slow Friday, you kind of don't really see, and that's with tourists and the whole Freedom Restaurant thing. I mean, you still don't get a big crowd for a lot of these shows that aren't that they're not built up. I don't know. I would worry about LA Park in any promotion just because he's so like I can't see him like long term. He's probably hurt himself more than anything else as far as being a long term solution for a promotion. So it's like, I don't know. Even with AAA, like if you went to AAA, I can't see him being like the whole idea. Somebody suggested maybe they could do like the mask match with him and Dr. Wagner and for Triplemania. It's like, you can't. I mean, we're already questioning the site. As soon as they announced Psycho Clown versus Dr. Wagner Jr., we all thought this ain't gonna last a year. And they've been fortunate that they're getting to that point. But like you said, there's still that chance as it gets closer that it might not happen. But with like LA Park, there's no way that guy would get to that. I mean, I think by the second week, he'd probably already have, we already would have had stories about him like offending someone and people wanting him out. So and plus, I mean, right now, AAA doesn't even have they don't have the infrastructure to like control him right now. I mean, you really think that Imperial is going to be able to tell LA Park what to do? I just don't really, and I think the Crash, the only way that works is if there's an understanding, but even that I don't think would last that long either.
I agree with everything you said. I'm just mad that I said you went for a great joke and you missed it.
What was the joke?
Imagine CML without the tourists. You would have said, well,
well, like I said, I can. When you see we've seen some of those shows. Well, like, I don't know, man. It's amazing. They get tourists for those Tuesday, Sunday shows, and it's still empty.
Is the topless thing going to catch on?
Well, it's not going to help. When I'm gonna have to get upset at Cubs fan for this one. So I see he writes down that there was a topless woman there, and we watch CMLL every week. What do you think I was thinking was the topless woman? I was thinking it was, one of those girls in the first row. And when I see it, it's like, I was very disappointed. It was just some foreign girl that wasn't very, it wasn't what you expected. I was very disappointed in you, Cubs fans. Shame on you.
I did not include any details on the women. I was reporting the facts as I knew them. So,
but you should have known better. I was gonna be thinking, my mind's in the gutter half the time. So, very upset at you. You guys, okay? So, AAA TV, Rob, is this the worst you've ever seen AAA TV this year?
I'm gonna go with yes, because I'm like you. I'll skim the shows just to see Aerostar's new move, or maybe the younger guys how they're progressing. But the only two matches I really enjoyed in AAA this year have been the the Llave de Gloria matches that they've had with the young guys.
Yeah.
Everything else has been, and the thing is, I know people will point out, AAA sucked in 97, 98, 99, 2000, all those years and all that. But the thing about is, even though it sucked on top, you could still see fun stuff underneath. Nobody would pay attention to it, but it was okay. Whereas, the Barrio Boys were having good matches with the Diabolicos, something like that. But these days, from top to bottom, there's just garbage everywhere.
Yeah, we even got the minis, Mascarita Sagrada versus Mini Abismo Negro.
Yeah.
We had Las Brujas versus I forgot who, the Moreno sisters. So we were getting at least one match that was a lot better than anything we're getting right now. I think, and that's what I was trying to explain. Dylan and Microman here were asking me if I really did feel that way. I was like, yeah, we probably sounded very positive about AAA in the mid-90s, in the late 90s, and early 2000s. But comparing it to what I've seen this year, it is really bad. I can't think of, like you were saying, I think 3 matches that I've watched that I've really enjoyed. Everything else hasn't been anywhere near as good as that. And those years, every week at least I was getting one match, and we would turn off the rest of the show, because the rest of the show was, cibernetico and electroshock versus, random foreign guys, or, stuff like that. And it's like, now it's like, we're not even getting that. So I do think it's a lot worse. Cubs, you're a little later. Have you watched all the old AAA, or are you a little later catching up on AAA?
I'm a little later.
I know you probably started watching.
And I haven't gone back as much as her, but just considering how many matches they've had that just haven't been anything watchable. Besides the Llave matches, it's like only the 10-man tag that they had that one week in Neza that was fun, that was random, and the Ayaka tire match that was never followed up, and apparently never will be followed up on. They lost so much talent at the beginning of the year and last year, and it's just amazing how they haven't done anything at all really to replace them, except having those tryout matches where those guys aren't really integrated with the rest of the roster.
Is Astrolux even still with that? Has he shown up? He's not even there anymore. He ended up getting the crash booking. What happened to Astrolux?
Yeah, no one knows what's going on with that contest. He may still be in it, or he may just be, or he may have opted out of it, because they haven't explained anything at all what's supposed to be going on with that contest. So, no one, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, it's weird, just because I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that's happened where it's not leading to anything. Constantly every week there's a different lineup change. You don't really know what's going on. I was going to ask you guys, what do you think of Taya? What happened with Taya for getting her title stripped? Did you think that was legit, or is it something more of a storyline? Because I know Mundo worked that on taking that night that she got stripped the following day. So it just seems a little odd to me that happened.
I think it's because they announced it on the website instead of doing an angle on TV. I think it's like a legit thing that maybe they will work in as a skit later on. And I'm sure if she comes back, they'll absolutely turn to an angle. But I think they just did not. With AAA's told disorganization, I could see them just not telling people what was supposed to be going on right there. And Tyre's being upset was real, but then they'll make it into something later on if they want to use her for something.
Conspiracy theory. What do you think happened?
Brother, listen to me, brother. Krav Maga teaches you not to question things. Just accept them, brother. That's my Vampiro impersonation.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know what to make of it. I mean, we'll see. It's just, I shit on AAA a lot. I think Vampiro doesn't know what the fuck he is doing, and I think Dorian has totally lost control. But at the end of the day, I can't see them being dumb enough to offend Taya, knowing that Morrison has all their titles and they need him to lose it. So at the end of the day, I think she's coming back, and they're gonna make it into some sort of ha ha ha, we fooled the internet, and try to make us look like idiots.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody's kind of like. Because I know a lot of people reacted. I know what was it? She took a screenshot of your post about the whole explanation of why she was stripped, Cubs, which was, I mean, I understood that was like her trying to add more to it, but it kind of, I don't know. Usually she doesn't really go all out on that stuff. So, and like I said, Mundo was there. I would think there was, I don't know. It just seems kind of strange that happened. I think he's booked for one other, I think this weekend show, isn't he?
Yeah, he's supposed to be there in Monterey, so we'll see what happens. I mean, that's also the place where they could just start running an angle about it. But we'll see because I'm sure what we will see is none of the matches that are advertised, so we can work something in.
So him being there might not even matter. Like, That's what I think. Whenever somebody when I see somebody on Twitter complain that they're not on the show, like Taya, or I think she's done it in the past, and it's like, why would you even care about it? You might have shown up and not even been on the show anyway. So it's like, what's the difference? Yeah. So we should probably get to CML because I'm already tired of talking about AAA at this point.
You brought up women and you killed the conversation.
Yes, I killed the conversation. And it could have gone a lot worse. We could have dug a bigger hole for ourselves talking about women's wrestling. You talk about the Mae Young Classic. How about that, Rob? You want to talk about the Mae Young Classic? Who do you have? Who's your odds-on favorite to win the Mae Young Classic?
Putting all my money on Stephanie McMahon raising the trophy at the end because she created women's wrestling.
Do you think Princesa Suhei has a shot of winning this cup?
No, I think she's just in there to make up the numbers and have a Mexican representative in the group. She'll go a little far, but I don't think she's going to win or anything.
So how surprised were you that Zeuxis didn't make this?
I was totally surprised because if you were looking to pick someone, she would have been the obvious person to pick from CMLL, and it makes me rethink. And she had the tryout too, so I don't know what. So I wonder what happened there that caused them not to pick her after all, or if they just decided that they had one Mexican and that Shirley was going to be the pick. It does make me rethink the whole mask match feud because we assume that Zeuxis was losing her mask on the way to CML, and if she's or on the way to WB, and if she's not going to WB, then maybe Triggy who's losing her mask, or maybe she still is. It's a lot more unclear where that's program is supposed to be going now.
Do you think that mask match is going to happen actually, or it's going to be one of those CML ongoing mask challenges that never comes through?
I think they spent so much time on this that they actually have something in mind. But I will know for sure a week from Friday because either they end that match, that cibernetico, with those two having an issue and setting up the mask match, or it's probably never going to happen.
I think we lost Rob.
I think in real time right now, we're seeing the Demas versus Octagoncito match on TNA or GFW or whatever we're supposed to call it. So I think he's just very distracted by Minnie's wrestling.
He'll have to go watch that.
Yeah.
Probably just ditched us because he figured he wanted to watch that and doesn't want to talk about all this disappointing news in Lucha Libre right now. Atlantis suffered his first injury in 34 years and it's expected out for 4 months. How do you think this is going to affect CML going forward? Because I think really worst case scenario for CML in the past is if there's nobody else for a big anniversary match, he's usually the option. Do you think that's going to affect the anniversary, or it's not going to be an issue?
I think they haven't really set anything up for him, so I think it's just going to turn out not to be an issue. That I don't know what exactly they're doing for that main event because they haven't made it clear at all. But I think that it didn't seem like they had any big plans for him this year.
Yeah, I think we could say that about a lot of people in CML because right now, I mean, there's really nothing other than Pierrot. I think the only guy they have big plans for is Pierrot, with his big hair match, and he had the big mask match. So he seems to be the guy that they've been focusing on. Just what do you have? What do you guys think is going to be? We're obviously going to have the Grand Prix and the anniversary. Do you expect just those two big shows, or do you expect there to be another big show during September? Because it kind of feels like there might be a next.
It depends on. I guess it depends on if they're going to run the anniversary show on the holiday Independence weekend, or if they're going to hold it off till later in the month. I think I could see them making September having all bigger shows than usual just to take advantage of it, but it's going to be. But I don't know if it's going to be something at the level of the other two shows. I could see whatever a plus match that they've been teasing that they haven't got around to being stuck on the third show, but it also could be something where they just make a Sunday show bigger than usual or something like that.
Well, you just brought up the Sunday show, so we could ask Rob, who's just returned to the podcast. Rob, do you think the Sunday after the anniversary show on a Friday night, do you think that Sunday show can be headlined by Cholo versus Canelo Casas in a hair match?
See, now I'm actually angry that we connected. I should have quit this conversation. Sorry, the internet went out because we're having a storm because it's really hot here. So
no.
The storm is trying to cool the weather down. I'm good now. Yeah, I don't even know what to make of this Canelo Casas Cholo feud other than I assume we're sending Cholo out, right? Like he's going to lose his hair and go away? Is that it?
You have Cholo.
Isn't that how it works?
You think Cholo's going to move up the card now? Is that what you're asking?
No, I think Cholo's going to go away, right? Isn't that like they give the veteran super command?
Oh yeah, like Ramstein and the other guy, right?
Exactly. Well, Cholo was the other guy with Ramstein.
Yeah,
in that match.
the Rayos Tapatíos.
No, that was it was Soberano and Star Jr.
No, I know, but I'm saying you're asking if they're gonna.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because they're the Rayos Tapatíos. Remember they lost their
Yeah.
I think it was a mask match or a hair match the previous year, and then they.
Yes.
Yeah, so you think Cholo's leaving? Oh man.
Well, I mean, listen, Fredo. Yeah, I know he's one of your favorites, but you got to relax. The new favorites will come along at some point. The CML has a promising youngster named Nitro. I don't know if you've heard about him, but he's winning all his matches.
He's in France, man. I can't get behind a guy who spends half the year in France. I mean, come on.
He's booked next Tuesday, isn't he?
He's not in France. Oh, it's the other guy that's in France.
They haven't left yet or something, or I don't know what is going on, but they're all still here.
One of those guys. I know one of those guys is going to France. I can't. More a guy that's heading to France. Like I gave up on those guys. Because Rob and I were having this discussion on Twitter where Rob said you could get rid of 25 guys off the CML roster, and I told him you could get rid of half. Where do you stand as far as how many luchadors CML can get rid of that you'd be perfectly okay with? Actually, would improve the product. Actually,
I'm going to answer for Cubs because I think Cubs is on break right now. He just messaged us on Twitter, so I'm going to answer in Cubs' place and say all the women to start off. Trust me, this is exactly what Cubs would say. You get rid of all the women, and I mean, if we played a game Fredo now and went, I name one, you name one, I name one, you name one, we could probably go 45 minutes naming CML wrestlers that could disappear, right?
Yeah. I think that's going to be like an MLW special where we just go through MLW Lucha Talk special where we just all take turns if we would keep or get rid of one guy. And I think to have 10 guys that we would actually keep, maybe more. I mean, although I think we would probably mercy get rid of some guys just to help them improve their careers. But it's I don't know, it's so bad right now. Watching their not even their opening match. You look at their Tuesday and Sunday lineup. I think some of those guys are already reaching the fourth match, and it's, I'm not even talking about Pierrot. I'm talking about like Scandalo and those guys are already getting higher in the card. And it's like, what happened to all these other talented wrestlers that used to be in CMLL? Where are they?
You know what's especially frustrating, though, is like sometimes you'll see guys show up and then they'll never show up again, but the worst guys will stick around. Like Ciclón Ramirez Jr. is very good. He showed up for 1 or 2 shows and he's never been seen. Or you remember in the Grand Alternativa they had the big fat dude? What was his name? Steel Warrior?
Oh, Warrior Steel.
I liked him. He looked funny. I would want to watch him.
Yeah, all those guys who showed up, like Yago, Golden Magic, obviously. There was like 10 guys, and all those guys didn't show up, but Inquisitador, Canelo Casas, Nitro, Scandalo, obviously Nitro for obvious reasons.
Rocky Casas,
the guys you don't really want in the promotion. They're just, why is Robin still there? Why did he have to be in Houston when that whole incident happened? Can we confirm he was in Houston? I mean, you got sources, Rob. Was he in Houston?
Well, at one point, I wanted to take a screen cap from the video and somehow Photoshop Canelo Casas into it. But my Photoshop skills are lacking.
You have one guy who could Photoshop guys. We have the Cubs fan, and he's apparently not going to Photoshop guys on there. But I think I would have put half the roster on destroying Ultimo Guerrero's car. We're basically we're already past the midway point of 2017. Luchador of the Year for 2017, because it's a pretty hard pick. I guess we could wait till anniversary if somebody has a big match there, or however the Triplemania show, the main event ends up. But there really isn't a like, I think last year there were at least 5 or 6 guys at this point where you thought, this guy's really good, was Wrestler of the Year. But this year, it's like everybody's booked so on, and in AAA, I mean, it's really like it's all over the place right now. And the independents it kind of feels like the independent guys are doing more in the U.S. than in Mexico. Who do you have right now as your Luchador of the Year for 2017?
I guess. I mean, usually my default answer is Volador Jr., but he hasn't really done much this year, and he went away for a while for Japan. Plus, he's been doing other stuff. So I guess my answer has to be just Ultimo Guerrero, only because he's been in the best CML matches that I've seen, and he seems to win a lot of matches.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing with Volador Jr. is there was like at least a couple of weeks where he was stuck, although he does in the Puebla show, but there was a couple of times where he was stuck in those opposing challenges, where I think you noticed where Volador Jr. just looked like he looked so depressed in those matches. Where you have to decide, do I jump on Piroth or whoever else is in the match, in Cranio or whoever was, Ripper was replacing one of the La Máscara at that point. Cubs, who do you have for Luchador of the Year in 2017?
I want to say Grand Metallic, but I don't think I picked Flies. I would. It's tough because there's no standout candidate. I mean, and whatever person we're picking, it's going to be completely changed by the end of September. Assuming the Triplemania match happens and whatever happens is CMLL, there just has not been the great performance you're looking for. I mean, maybe Dragon Lee because he's been good everywhere. Maybe Voldor because he's good everywhere. But it's just, or like a guy like Phoenix or Pentagon because maybe even more so Phoenix because they've done well in their U.S. appearances, but those are more scared and we haven't seen. We don't see them every week now like we see the CML guys. So it just, there's no one I really want to pick. But I guess Ultimo Guerrero maybe because he's been in finals of tournaments. He's going to be in the final of a tournament again this week. Maybe it's whoever wins the Ultimo Guerrero Volador match because both of those guys have done pretty well. But it just, there's a lot of maybes, but there's no one definite.
Would you guys consider Soberano in that list?
Yeah, I guess so. Because he's won the couple tournaments. He had the good match with Rey Cometa. Especially if he gets the mass match with Mysterioso sometime this summer, then that's really going to put him over the top for that kind of award. And at least it'll make him at least as reasonable candidate as Dragon Lee was last year.
I agree.
Have Pierrot in your top 10 list for Luchador of the Year for 2017?
No, he just barely didn't make the cut. I had to squeeze him out. It was a last-second decision, but I had to. I had to rank the entire AAA roster over him. So.
And every independent wrestler, right? Like, you actually had like at least every single guy that was in that torneo still ahead of him.
Yeah, it was a tough call, but yeah, he had to be dropped off that list. Yes, although he might end up in 3 Western matches this year. So what the fuck do I know?
I think that's what really has hurt this whole thing, because they've had so many big matches that featured Pierrot. Everything else has been maybe like switching back and forth. You had Carbonario mixed in there, and Carbonario's had some pretty good matches this year also. But it just seems like with CML it's all sporadic. I think in the independents it's really been Penta and Phoenix. There hasn't been anything that stood out so far. I'm guessing, like you guys were saying, August later in September we'll have somebody else that's going to be considered in that. What about Lucha Underground? How are you guys enjoying the season 3? Have you enjoyed this whole Cueto Cup?
I think there's been some matches have been good, but I think by having so many people in it at the end of it, when we're done after 9 weeks of this tournament or however long it is, it's going to feel like it's an epic thing to get that far. But I think it's a slow return to having regular shows when you have so many short matches and so many matches where it's one-sided. When the best part of the series has been when they've had short programs and big blow-off matches, and they haven't been able to do that with the setup they're doing.
But do you think it would have been better for them to just do like a 16 or maybe anything less than 32 person tournament, rather than doing that and it extending and getting these? You got a couple of squash matches every couple of episodes. Every episode there was a pretty squash match or something that you immediately forget. Do you think it would have been better just maybe shortening the tournament?
I think so. I understand why they do it, because their ethos is that everyone gets something to do and everyone gets something involved. So if they were going to do a tournament like this, they want everyone involved. And they just did basically a 16-man tournament with that Battle of the Bulls. I think maybe it's just one too many tournaments in the same season or the same stretch of episodes.
Yeah, and the bad thing is that I think also we're kind of getting a lot of tournaments, not just within Lucha Underground, but everywhere else. Seems like every single week we're getting New Japan, there's a tournament. CML, obviously there's a tournament. I think CML's most tournaments. I think the only promotion that hasn't done a tournament is AAA, right? Like the main promotion. I think they haven't done a tournament this year. Well,
yeah, they haven't run enough shows to run a tournament, though. I mean, even when they tried to do Rey the Reyes, they couldn't handle doing that right this year. So I think that just may be beyond them.
Yeah. How do you guys? Well, I guess Rob, what do you think of the build-up between the big match between Johnny Mundo and Rey Mysterio? Do you think they've actually done it well, or do you think they should have done a little more with that feud?
No, I think it's amazing. I haven't been this excited for a Rey match in so long. I can't wait to see. I'm actually mad that we got to wait so long, considering how they're doing like three second round matches, and then they'll have 2. So we're looking at least another 5 or 6 weeks, maybe more, until they get to Rey versus Mundo. And I just want to see it already, because I don't even care about I know they had the interference last week where Mundo attacked him, but it's the video packages that are selling me on this, because the video packages are perfectly done, because Rey is the ultimate hero to the children, best babyface technical, and Mundo is a prick, but he's a prick. It's such an entertaining. I want to see Mundo get his ass kicked. He's such a great heel. And I never saw him in WWE because I didn't really watch when he was around. But if he was this good in WWE, I can't even imagine why they would get rid of him.
Yeah, it's. What was I going to say about this? Do you think the way they, with those video packages that they've done, do you think they probably could have used that for like AAA with Psycho Clown and Dr. Wagner Jr. And do you think more promotions might actually take that to like build up a bigger a match? Just because I don't really see that. You don't really see that as far as other promotions doing it, and I think it's worked well for Lucha Underground. I think the one where they were asking all the wrestlers what they thought, or the Smack Striker and the other wrestlers what they thought, who would win, what they thought about the each individual. I really like that, and I kind of think that kind of is something that it could have done. I mean, don't you think CML could have done something with like that to build up Vangelis versus Puro, have everybody share their thoughts on that big hair match? Lucha was AAA with the build up to the that 3-way tag match. You think more promotions should probably do this, Cubs?
I think they probably should do stuff. It's just that the Mexican promotions are not good about either producing stuff or editing stuff down. I think you could probably make a really good show out of the CML Informer show that they do every week, and you could or you could even just edit after fact, and you could have all those predictions, since they seem to be asking everyone on there who they're going to pick. But instead, you get a 2-hour show that's impossible for a casual fan to navigate and get through. So I think that they just don't do as much follow-up and editing and reducing things to digestible content as they in Mexico as they do at Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground has a big budget to do those things, but I think CML could do some of those stuff if they really wanted to too.
What do you think about this match? Are you looking forward to this match? Because I know we already have a little more build-up with Prince Puma wanting to win the tournament to face Rey Mysterio. Do you think this? You obviously won't give spoilers away because you've been to a couple of the tapings. But are you looking forward to watching this match?
Yeah, I think they should have a pretty good match. I think they're two guys who match up pretty well in the past, and I think they're going to want to have they're in a situation where who knows when they're going to get another chance to have a match like that in a big atmosphere. So I think they're going to want to try to do the best match they possibly can.
Yeah. So with Lucha Underground, we obviously see the luchadors being used there, and obviously it's a lucha promotion, so not necessarily an all lucha exclusive lucha promotion, but we do see luchadors. They're used in a certain way, where they're actually, they're projected in a good way. But we see other promotions bringing in luchadors. Impact's been bringing in luchadors. We talked about this on the last podcast you were on, Cubs. Just your general thoughts on the recent use of luchadors for New Japan, WWE, Impact, Ring of Honor. I know Ring of Honor is kind of like the guy they bring in overall. I mean, they can really bring out some random CML guys. What are your thoughts on how they've been using the talent? I mean, obviously right now Impact, I think they have a minis match. So, and they've been using some of the Crash and AAA guys. So just your general thought on how they're using them right now as far as for each promotion. How do you see them using them each individually?
I think that CML that because of the way they take that tape, that the Impact gets the most out of them, because they're going to have a month or so of matches of Drago and Hijo del Fantasma, and you need that kind of constant appearing by guys to get them over to the audience. I think Ring of Honor, besides just choosing some odd people, it's that Ultimo Guerrero will show up and have one match in 4 weeks, and then he may not be on the next taping, or he may be on the next pay-per-view and you won't see him for a long time. I think it's really tough for their fans who aren't already CML fans to get to know these guys and start caring about them when they're not on that often and they don't have that kind of regular presence.
Rob, what do you think? How do you think the promotions the American promotions and New Japan also are using luchadors?
Perfect timing, because actually in the background as we're recording this, I have TNA on, and they had an Octagon Cito, aka Mini Rey Mysterio, the one from AAA, against Demis. And it was a pretty rough match. But the thing is, they sent them out there. I didn't see any video package on the show. They just put them out there, and the crowd doesn't even know them, doesn't even react to anything, because how could they? And that's usually my number one pet peeve with all the promotions put together. Like, ROH is guilty of this. New Japan is somewhat guilty of this. They bring in these guys, and they don't even tell you what they're just, it's a masked Mexican guy. And I really wish there'd be some depth to these guys, like characters. Find out information about them. Don't promote them as Ray, R-A-Y, Bucanero. show that you care about them just a bit. And, it goes both ways, because I think CMLL put on their Facebook something about Marty's skull, or somebody did.
It might have been the Lucha and Passion guys when they brought them in.
Did that. Lucha Passion. But CMLL has done stuff in the past where they've just used the wrong names, the wrong spelling. Oh, the ROH, they used to say it was Ro.
Yeah.
They couldn't even pronounce ROH properly. So, you guys, you got to get on the same page if you're gonna bother with this stuff at all. Otherwise, what are we even doing here? Do I give a shit that Hijo de Fantasma is coming up on TNA in a couple minutes? I mean, if he's just another random dude and you're not explaining anything about him, like about his history, who his father is, what the gimmick means, then they might as well just be a random jobber out there. It frustrates me, because it's so easy. Remember, I mean, Fredo, I'm going to bring up something you should be able. Well, Cubs too, because Cubs used to watch WCW. Remember those packages that Mike Tenay did? Those were so great about the Mexican guys.
Yes. Yeah, I mean that's what I was gonna.
Why can't we see that again?
That's what I was gonna bring up. Even WCW did stuff for these guys, and we all complain about how little they were used. But at least there was a little effort where we knew more or less who these guys were. I mean, they had Mike Tenay on there. I think Dr. Lucha was asking me. He was trying to remember what was how they were trying to bring up LA Park, and I said, well, Mike Tenay was there, so Mike Tenay was the one. He was introduced. Mike Tenay was introduced to us, to the people who didn't know that who he was. The radio guy and the wrestling radio guy and the newsletter person. We all knew him as the guy who was like, he was introduced to all of us as the lucha libre and the Japanese wrestling insider who knew everything about that stuff on WCW television. And what would happen? Like, you would watch this trios match, and Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan or Larry Zbyszko or whoever was there, Eric Bischoff, they would be like, who is this guy, or why are they're going to kill themselves or whatever. But you had Mike Tenay there to tell you the story about these guys, who they were, where they came from. He would tell you, like, if this guy dropped his mask, like Silver King, if he dropped his mask, like, I think he at 19 years old or something. I learned that from Mike Tenay watching WCW when Silver King showed up on that. So it's like, now it's like these guys are getting paid to announce, and they don't even put in the effort to like learn who these guys are. I mean, do they not even have like pictures of these guys so they could be like, okay, this is Volador, this is Titan, this is Dragon Lee. Now I know who these guys are. I mean, how does Jim Ross not know the difference between Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay? I mean, really, this is just bad. Like, these people aren't putting in the work. I mean, it's the effort. I just don't think there's the effort put into like learning other talent, like the talent outside of the ones that you're familiar with within your promotion. It's pretty sad. I mean, and a lot of these guys are coming from WWE too, so honestly, I don't want to shit on WWE, but
honestly, it's very reminds me a lot of Mexican commentators, because Mexican commentators are the fucking dirt worst, and will call any move a Canadian destroyer, or they'll make jokes during the matches. And I used to think that Mexican announcers were the worst, but then you see a guy like Jim Ross. I mean, the guy. Let's not say that this was like his first time announcing. He's been with New Japan for like going on 2 years now. You would think that he would know some of these guys by now.
Yes, and that's what surprises me when I see these guys. Like, it's like, I think we're all used to Matt Stryker and these guys kind of like not giving a crap when they go to Mexico to announce the biggest show of the year for the promotion you're kind of partnered with, and just mail it in. And it's like, I don't think they were just getting a free vacation to go there and just do that stuff. I mean, you got to have a little bit of, and I know like Vampiro, I think that's why Vampiro's kind of pissed at me, because I pointed out, like, people are paying you to like do this stuff. They're not like, you're supposed to, like, don't you care about what you're doing? I mean, you have to have at least some, like, if these guys don't do well, you're not going to have a job. So it's like, there's an added bonus to making these guys look good. But what do you expect? The promotion doesn't care. Like, I know when Dorian was like, everybody was like betching it. I'm pretty sure Dorian saw that people were shitting on the English announcing, and he still brought him back. So it's like, I just don't get it. It's just it's disappointing to see from top to bottom how badly everybody's dealing with promoting guys. I mean, everybody complains about how, like, the American promotion, they want the next Rey Mysterio. It's Rey Mysterio when you're just like who's this mask guy? And I can't tell who this guy is. They're all wearing masks. Like, you gotta like actually show some emotion and like actually know what you're talking about to get these guys over. I mean, it Rey Mysterio, yeah, he got over because he was at that time there was nobody at his level. But I mean, they also had other people who knew who he was. It wasn't like it just feels like everybody's lazy now. It's disappointing, really.
I think the people who actually do the best with bringing luchadors would be New Japan on the Japanese side, because you've seen those sit-down videos in Japanese usually, but with like Dragon Lee before his big match with Takahashi, and that it helps them that they have a crew of announcers who do the Friday night shows on the delay, and they do announcing for them, and they see those guys regularly, and I think that gives them more familiarity with those guys. I think it would help CML if instead of having a random group of announcers, even though they're announcers we like doing the shows in English, if it was Ring of Honor people doing a voiceovers for the CML shows in English, just so that the Ring of Honor people would be able to know who these people are and get them over their irons that way. And same thing with AAA. Instead of having people from the UK do announcing for AAA shows, which have no connection to AAA otherwise, if this deal with Impact and Fight Network gets them better coverage somehow, it'd be great for them if the regular English announcers for AAA were Jeremy Borash and Josh Matthews and the Pope, the same crew does Impact, because that would help them cross that over a lot better.
Can I jump in quickly with one thing? The who was really good, and I know this is going to sound mean because you guys haven't seen it, and I should have been recording it for you guys, but the English commentary of CMLL on the Fight Network, it was Jose Manuel Guillen, and I can't remember, I always forget the other guy's name, but they were so good. Like, at every match, they would tell the backstory of the guys, talk about their career. That is the type of commentary I would like to see in every promotion.
Yeah, I mean, and that's that's the, and Jose Manuel Guillen, obviously he's somebody who actually does, he knows, he's knowledgeable about. I think he's knowledgeable about every promotion, so because based off them being in charge of Masuch and all that. But it's like, it's ridiculous that they can't actually, like, these promotions just keep bringing in the guys that you just wonder why can't they do more, like, to get these guys, like, they want these guys just to, like, automatically get over with the crowd, and it's an uphill battle for them, and you're never gonna get the full potential of somebody, like, unless you, like, help them out at least. I just find it very difficult to believe that they haven't done anything like that yet.
Well, WWE could have their own, like you were saying, about their own Rey Mysterio. They have Máscara Dorada, Grand Metallic there, and they don't want it to be the next Rey Mysterio because they want him to learn English, and they want him to stop doing the tricky stuff with the ropes, and they basically want him to be any random guy, and it's frustrating not just for us. You can tell it's frustrating for him too because he's not working. He's just sitting at home now, and for a guy who for his entire career was working like 6-7 times a week, maybe more, he doesn't know what he's done wrong, and no people tell him what he's done wrong. Yeah,
well, at least he's getting paid, and like he could play on his PS4 while he's resting, because I know he does play that. He's always mentioning that he's on that, and I know he's spending time with his family also. But it's like it's just amazing that they haven't really done more with these guys. I wish that's really kind of what holds me back from watching Raw, because I already know, like, it's not anything that's going to interest me, because I tune into Raw and the first thing I see is The Miz, and it's like, I'm just not into that. It's like, I don't really care about that stuff right now.
You know what the thing is, though, is like anybody who's ever met Máscara Dorada will tell you, he's a funny guy. He's got a personality. But you're never going to find that out in WWE because they just boil it down to, he's a Mexican. That's it. Like, he's actually a funny guy. Give him a chance to talk.
He was very serious when I met him. But that's because I have that effect on people. So. No, he was all right. I think it's all the whole out of the blue asking people for interviews sort of deal. Yeah, but overall, I mean, what are you guys looking forward to watching in the upcoming days? I know it's got to probably be I know we're recording this on a Thursday, so obviously it's the Ultimo Guerrero Volador Jr. match. Is that really the only thing that you're looking forward to at the moment?
No, I'm looking forward to the Crash this weekend because hopefully we'll get some handhelds of that. And Phoenix versus Marty Scurll is happening on Saturday, right?
Oh, at the Lucha Libre Pasión.
Yes.
Yeah. See, I think that's the one good thing. There's a lot of good like just not just lucha, a lot of wrestling in general where you could find it. If you don't have to watch the entire show, like I said, there's a lot of shows where you could actually just skip through it, but there's plenty of good wrestling to find. I think there's something good for everyone really at this point. I mean, lucha alone, every weekend, I think there's at least one good match that you're going to be like, okay, this is good. I'll continue. I haven't lost hope in watching, lucha libre or pro wrestling in general. So, what are you looking forward to, Cubs?
I'm looking forward to finding out what they're going to do with the who's going to end up being in the anniversary main event, because CML hasn't really done anything to make that obvious yet, and I'm looking forward to catching up all the matches I missed from the first half of the year that I still haven't watched from the Indies. But I'm kind of interested to see if Niebla Roja and Ultimo Guerrero can have a good title match on Monday in Puebla, because it'd be nice. Because if Niebla Roja can't do it then I know we can safely write him off for all time. So,
wow,
That's not nice.
He's been that disappointing because I know he's been really up and down for me. Like sometimes I think he's looked really good, and then there's other times where I just like the way it's been booked, where Ultimo Guerrero kind of gets Niebla Roja gets the short end of it all the time. So it really comes off in his matches where you're kind of bummed out that he hasn't done more. Has he really been that bad for the most part, or it's been up and down?
It just hasn't fit on the technical side at all. He just has not been that. He hasn't put together in a full match since he's been on that side, except maybe the quick match with Dragon Lee in the tournament. But otherwise, it's not worked out too well.
Do we have any tournaments planned for CML coming up after this one?
I think they're almost out of them. I mean, we have the Cibernetico next week, but I'm sure after that, sometime they'll need something to do in August. So maybe we'll just get even more tournaments.
Oh, great! I know Rob's looking forward to at least one tournament, but it's actually a good tournament. What is it? Is it early September? Battle of Los Angeles?
Yeah, I am hyped. They announced the whole field. Our 4 Mexican participants are Phoenix, Pentagon, Rey Horus, and some guy you guys might have heard of called Flamita, who's making his Rosita debut and is probably going to steal the friggin' show.
That sounds like a lot of fun. And considering PWG's been around for a while, and that's always been like the big their shows are actually shows that are actually really good. So that's something I do look forward to. Like, hopefully I'll get to watch that. I know I can't attend because that thing already probably sold. Have they already put tickets up for that?
Not yet. They're still
they sell out. They sell out within 10 minutes.
Placing. Yeah, they'll be gone. You got to figure. I mean, there's 3 nights, so I think their regular prices are $75 first row and $50 general admission. But last year, Bola was $100 front row, $75 GA, and I think it's going to be more expensive this year. 3 nights just to be in the building is probably going to cost you $300 for all 3 nights.
Rob, you go to these. You've been to PW shows, and you're kind of more in the know. Why haven't they moved to a bigger venue?
Because it's just the guy who runs it is he likes what he does. He likes the atmosphere there, and he's very set in his ways. So it's very much the old saying: if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And nothing about PWG is broken right now.
Yeah. I mean, they've been doing really. I mean, like I said in previous podcasts, people will ask about where the Lucha Underground guys kind of got made, and a lot of the guys from Lucha Underground will tell you that the ones that have been on PWG, they kind of bring up PWG being the springboard as far as going to more independent shows and even really being more known to fans. Because I think Lucha Underground right now isn't as I think it's still. What are the ratings like for Lucha Underground right now? Cause are they still about the same?
They've gone up a little bit since they've come back. The last week was actually the highest number they've had since early in the season. So even though it in no way feels like they're the show on the rise, that they have sort of captured some people's interest.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of those guys, when they told me they bring up PWG, really meaning the promotion that springboards them for more bookings for, other independent promotions stuff. I think it's really PWG and AAW that the two that they bring up all the time. I am looking forward to this weekend. Hopefully, going to see Puma, Tiger, and Girl Maya Jr. Although I'm guessing Tiger's probably not going to show up on Sunday because I noticed Puma mentioned he was going to be in Long Beach on Saturday. So I'm almost guessing those not all three will be there, and they're like in a random trios match here in LA. So hopefully I can make it there and maybe get an interview. I know Kurt's probably going to go to that also.
Didn't Tiger send out a tweet that he's got his new visa and he's ready? He's coming.
Yeah,
I think that. Oh, was it recently?
Yeah, it was like a few days ago.
Okay, so because I know he didn't go to one show like a couple. Well, he didn't go to that Powerbomb TV thing. So.
Right.
And then there was another show that he was supposed to go to that he didn't end up going to. So yeah, hopefully they'll all be there. Maybe I'll get some interviews. Well, Fredo, if not, worst case scenario, I'll get Kurt super kicked by the Casas.
Well, Fredo, we're both going to be at shows at the same time because I think I'm going to head down the same day. I think I'm going to Smash where I'm going to see possible CMLL Grand Prix participant Jay White wrestling.
Oh, really? Yeah. Wow.
Where are you going, Cubs?
Any luchadors?
No luchadors.
Oh, man. Yeah. Mine's all luchadors. I think there might be one non-luchador on the show because, local lucha libre, there's always at least a couple of non-luchadors that you kind of wonder why they're there. But yeah, it should be a fun show. I'm looking forward to it. I've seen Girl Maya Jr. live. I've met him. I've not seen Puma. I've not spoken to Puma and Tiger in person. So those are and I know having met Nero Casas a couple of times, I'm sure they're great guys. So that should be a fun weekend. They're working a show on Saturday at a museum.
Wow.
Which I think, but I think these guys are used to it because in Mexico, I think they do stuff like that a little more than they do here in the U.S. So I know Taya and Thunder Rosa are on there, so I don't think I'm going to go to that show. But
did you see?
Not because of them, just because.
Did you see last week or 2 weeks ago? Dallas and a bunch of the people were posting pictures. They wrestled in front of like a McDonald's in a shopping mall.
Really? Yeah. But that's probably not the weirdest place they've wrestled. So, there's some weird places that I think there has to be a podcast where people just talk about the weirdest places they've gone to see Lucha Libre, because there's some weird places where they've held not just Lucha Libre shows, but pro wrestling as well. I mean, everything all over the place, Japan, everywhere. I mean, Japan, you basically had those DDT shows that they do so there's a lot of weirdness. Did you ever get into DDT, Rob? Because I remember that was something you never liked.
No, DDT was never my thing. I was especially because they had that guy, Dino, the guy who pulled down his pants, right?
Yeah. Not a fan of it.
That wasn't, every time I saw that wasn't my thing. I was going to ask you, though, are you going to if you interview Puma, you should try to interview him in some English because he's been practicing his English and he wants people to talk to him in English.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Dr. Lucha told me that he's heard he's trying to work on his English. Yeah, I could do that. Maybe he could be the next he could be the next co-host of the Lucha Classic or the LuchaWorld Podcast.
I'm sure he'd be thrilled. He's really looking to get his name out. So, like, to have somebody come up to him and ask him to do an interview, and especially like in English, I think.
Oh, really? Wow. Well, we'll have to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll get the Cubs fan. We'll get the Cubs fan to do a Google Hangout on again, and have Puma be the fourth guy on this.
And you know what? He's very honest with his answers, so I think you'll get some answers you're actually going to be surprised about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that should be good. I look forward to it.
Go for the dirt.
Yeah, I do want to ask him about the dirt because there's a lot. It's weird because like sometimes I'll ask them stuff and it'll be something that maybe they won't answer. And so far, a lot of the guys have really answered a lot of the stuff that I know. Like with Nero Casas, when I was asking him about I think it was one of the matches he had, and he was telling me the actual, just giving me like a real answer. It wasn't like something that, oh yeah, this happened in wrestling and all that stuff. He was actually explaining it in a manner where it was actually very real. So I was like, wow, this guy's giving me like a real answer. But yeah, a lot of the guys, I think for the most part, most of the guys we've interviewed have been pretty cool guys. So, is there anything else you guys want to plug? Cubs, anything you'd like to plug?
No, I don't have anything particular coming up. It's the usual stuff, the Lucha blog, the Lucha Wiki, all the stuff you guys know about.
There's really not a lot of news this past week, right?
No.
Like I noticed there's
nothing really much besides the Alberto stuff. It's just been it's been the quiet build to the CML show and the even quieter thing to the Monterey AAA taping where I kind of keep forgetting that's happening. And then I look at lineups and see it's there.
Yeah. Rob, anything you'd like to plug?
No, just go to my Twitter account, Lucha Gifts, because I'm having a lot of fun with that. Sending out.
You don't want them to visit. You don't want them to follow RobViper?
No one should follow RobViper.
Guys, it was the most amazing thing today. If you check my mentions, somebody was actually nice to me on Twitter.
Whoa.
I know that doesn't happen too often, but if you go check it out today, somebody, I forget who it was, but we got to talking about who are the 5 best Mexican wrestlers of all time. And after we went through our conversation, he said he really respects my opinion because I'm very knowledgeable. And I was like, well, where is this coming from? Because usually all I get called is an asshole for all my comments on Twitter.
Did you like it and save it on your Twitter account?
Not yet, but if you look to like the mentions, I can't even remember how we got there. From when I was talking about Atlantis and how we got injured earlier. If you check that thread.
Cubs, we should bring this up. Have you made peace with Conan?
I don't think so. I don't know. I do not know my relationship with Conan is from day to day. So I may have made peace and not even know about it, to be honest.
All I know, we could mention this on the podcast. I don't care because this podcast, people who actually follow us know more or less. And it's, if Conan has a problem, I got his number. He's got my number. We could figure this out. He knows how to get a hold of me. How weird was that? What was the deal with that just random eat a dick comment on Twitter? What was that all about?
I still don't know. It was never explained. I was not interested enough to follow up about it. I was kind of hitting the crash hard about how their shows are not streaming. So I assume that's the case. And of course, the show is not streaming either. And maybe it'll show up on this Patreon like the last show. But I that's my guess, but I don't even know.
Yeah,
here's
I gotta say, major props to Cecilia for defending you, too.
Here's the thing with Conan and Cubs' relationship is because when I met Conan for the first time in person a couple years back at one of the WrestleMania weekends, he thought I was Lucha Blog, and I'm like, no, that's somebody else. But then he started saying like, oh well, he talks shit about me on the blog, and I'm like, he talks shit about you, and Conan's like, no, I see the comments, and I'm like, well, but that's not him, that's people commenting, because there are people who post comments on Cubs blog
once a year
who talk shit about Conan.
Yeah,
but that's not because if anything, Cubs is too professional the way he covers everything.
Yeah. I kind of like when I spoke to him one of the times he kind of pointed that out, but he didn't mention the comments thing. But I was like, they're good guys, and he's like, yeah, but they always talk crap about me. I was like, no, they don't. I mean, you can't take. I think when we were talking about this on Twitter, I mentioned how don't worry, one of these days someone from AAA will knock Cubs fan. I think Vampiro might have been the one that Vampiro did something where Cubs fan commented on, and Conan was back on good terms with you. So,
well, the funny thing was. The thing that Vampiro got mad about F4W about it seemed like F4W just repeated what I had said a couple hours earlier. So I think Vampiro may be mad at me and not even know about it at this point.
Well, the weird thing is like they wrote what you said and they linked to my tweet. Yeah. So I was like, but Vampiro took a screenshot of it, so he didn't mention like the links or anything, but it was like totally just him ripping Dave and Brian. So I was just cracking up about that. But that's how it is with these guys. It's it's never. I don't know. I think if we met them face to face, they probably wouldn't say any of this stuff or anything. Like I know Conan wouldn't for sure, but I don't know about Vampiro. He's a little bit out there. So I guess I should end the show. You know that you could go visit our patreon.com/LuchaWorld, where we have Lucha Classic Podcast. We cover all Lucha Libre from the past. We just did I think Dr. Lucha and I did like almost a near 2-hour podcast on LA Park. And I think we probably would have gone longer if we had we had Chris Zellner and Vix's stamina. I should say stamina. If we could, I think we could have gone for 6 hours, but I think we kept it down under 2 hours. Talk about him in WCW, AAA when he first started as Principe Island, as one of the Invasores, his CMLL run back and forth every so often. Everything else as an independent. You could go check out CubsFan's website, luchablog.com. Go visit Rob's Twitter account because that's where you're going to get a lot of the stuff that he didn't want to bring up on this podcast because he wanted to be very civil. We all know what he's really like on his Twitter account. He's crazy, and I recommend all you guys follow it. So thanks to everyone for listening, and we'll talk to you guys again next time.